It's a sensitive, delicate deal, dragging brand new songs out of the sky. Trading ideas, accepting some, storing others in the maybe later bag, moving on and along with hardly a plan. During the Zepp years, I never imagined a full-scale album project without the other guys, and even less the idea of new writing partners. But then, since 1981, I've enjoyed many amazing, exciting musicians in the sharing, in the writing, in production and engineering. Men and women who encouraged and enlightened, introducing me to crazy curves I could never have imagined. For this podcast, I'm going to be picking out some songs from here and there along the way, mixing constant shifts in sound and intention from across this long old time. There's a story in all of them. I'm Robert Plant, and this is Digging Deep.
Hello, my name is Matt Everett, and I'm very pleased to be welcoming you back to another episode of Digging Deep with Robert Plant. This is the podcast where in every episode, Robert himself enters his back catalogue and picks a song that he's been involved with the recording of. Now, the reason I say involved with the recording is because some of these are world-famous songs, which see Robert, as he puts it, at the front end of the ship as lead vocalist and writer. But also, Digging Deep features collaborations or tracks where perhaps Robert's not as prominent. We're led by the songs here, that's all. Wherever we go is where we go. Likewise, we talk about the music, but also we just talk. If you know the show, you'll know what I mean. If you don't, you soon will. So this week's song is from the Mighty ReArranger album, which came out in 2005. It was Robert's 8th solo album, and the second with his band, Strange Sensation. And for me, maybe it's one of the best songs he's ever recorded. I mean, you can hear me explaining this in the conversation we have. I get a bit fanboy about the track. It's just beautiful. The vocal, the arrangement, the guitar playing, the production, the lyrics, everything's kind of perfectly aligned. So echoing what I was saying there earlier, if you know the song, which is called All the King's Horses, then you know what I mean. If you don't, well, you soon will.
Swift and true, straight to my heart. Love has come calling, and I'm back there again. I pour myself a brand new start, glad to be falling for the beauty within.
So this song, All the King's Horses. Now for me, because it's been really good doing this because I get to hear stuff I know of yours, but I spend more time with it, or stuff I haven't been that familiar with. This is one of my favourite things that you have ever done.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of knew it, but I've been back and I've been listening to it, and I keep listening to it. I listened to it like 3 or 4 times in the car on the way here. It's the most beautiful song. And I wondered if there was a moment, like when you're writing something, is there that moment when you're like, okay, yeah, this is what I wanted it to be. This has got some heart.
Yeah.
This is real. I don't know, that moment when a song really becomes a song rather than just some music and words that you and people have been working on. I just wondered.
Well, I listen to a lot of people, especially as I keep driving a lot. You know, I'm listening to the whole meld of lyric and instrumentation. And even the people who I really hold in high stead don't always get it so that it's got some kind of an affinity between both instrumentation and especially in my case, it can be a struggle because I adapt my mindset or melody or lyric or whatever it is to something that's all more or less already prescribed. So in the case of All the King's Horses, it was Skin's masterpiece. And then the way that the Space Shifters, there's such a sort of great community about the records that we made, so that nobody ever gets in the way of anything and just adds a great embellishment to an initial idea. And that particular song it's absolutely the place that I would wish to go. On the King's Horses,
There's no telling where I've been, how I returned here, how much I've seen.
Those lyrics, I mean, sadly, that's me, but not sadly, because I'm always feel like I'm actually on the outside looking in. It's a dark street. You walk down and the lights are on and you look through windows as you walk by, and you see everybody getting on with their lives, but the lives that they live are nothing to do with what's inside me at all. So I can't admire it. No, I can't, but I do feel that sort of condition really adds to me rather than takes anything away. As I'm not settled and I'm not restless, or it's just that is where I see myself as a character, and it gives me great food for creativity and or expression. And especially the last two records that we made together, Lullaby and the Ceaseless Roar and Carry Fire, were real echoes of the circumstances of me and them. And a lot of the times we were really reaching. I mean, from the listener's point of view, they take it or leave it. But from our point of view, we did really get to some very special places. And I think that Mighty ReArranger as a record, as a combination of songs, carried all the symptoms that we relish, as a bunch of guys.
The lyric, lovers come courting and I'm back there again, I pour myself a brand new start. There's a sort of a weary optimism, but optimism.
Oh, well, weary in as much as I can drink all night, sadly. But no, I mean, that's the great thing. I expect it to be almost like that.
On the king's horses,
I got a lot of Big Star, a lot of Alex Chilton
great.
in that song. The kind of production and the guitars got that sound to it, and the kind of the feel of the vocal as well. Because it's quite it's not whispered, but there's certainly that spot in your singing that's much softer.
Well, if the lyrical content is such, it has to be. I mean, if you go back to the Rain song or That's the Way or that sort of thing. I mean, my voice is such that I can be expressive in if I haven't got it right now, what am I doing? I've got to be able to get it right, depending upon how I write and how the affinity is with the people I work with. So, I loved Alex Chilton. Listening to him, I don't see that so much.
Not the tone of the voice, but something about that. There's almost the nursery rhymeness of the lyrics, which they did. That is childish, but the innocence and also those nursery rhymes that stay with us for years and years and years.
Soldier of Love.
Yeah, exactly. And on the vocal thing, I was listening to an interview by a voice specialist who was talking a lot about how singers use their voices and that difference between the kind of high-pitched voice and the huge voice. And they said it's interesting because I looked at a picture of you. Sometimes when you sing, you lean back, your kind of your body arches. Yeah. And this woman was saying, that's, whether conscious or not, that totally opens the chest up. It's a really brilliant singing technique.
It's a diaphragm thing.
Yeah.
I often did it like that because I didn't really know whether I could hit the right pecking note. So I was going as far away from the mic as I could, just in case it's not very good. Because you don't know sometimes. But yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting the way that if you do add an overdrive to performance, then you get bigger.
The whole body becomes part of the instrument. Yeah, I guess.
But I mean, imagine being Gigli or Caruso or Pavarotti or somebody like that. You're in it and you're on it. I mean, if I had to sing Immigrant Song every day, I would probably be looking like the laughing policeman, because I'd be so big and probably fail so many times to get those notes up there in that call to arms that, it'd be like Fatty Arbuckle probably. I mean, it just depends on how you go about what you do. It's going to be good with Alison because, I can be quite restrained until there'll be 2 or 3 or 4 points in the show where it will really kick off. When that happens, her rib cage opens because when you push the button, she lets it go. It's great.
Do you think it's one of your best songs?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that whole record really is a kind of, along with Fate of Nations and those earlier records, I think that Mighty ReArranger had so much swagger and focus and a topical overview of stuff where we were able to have a worldview without being sanctimonious about it. So yeah. But Dancing in Heaven is its sister track on that record, and that's pretty important too.
I'll weave a circle and soar, throw down my arms and give my all. I'll be a soldier of love. I am your soldier of love. Glad to be fallen, for the beauty within, the beauty within, the beauty within.
That was All the King's Horses by Robert Plant. As I was preparing for this episode, I was listening to it again and again, and it's just amazing. It's beautiful. So if you are listening to this episode in 2022, don't forget you can see Robert and Alison Krauss live. They're touring extensively throughout the US, UK and Europe from June through to September. Visit robertplant.com and click Tours and Tickets to see all the dates for their shows and their festival appearances. And that's the end of this week's episode. Hit subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss the next one, which is on its way very soon. And don't forget, you can hear previous Digging Deep episodes wherever you get your podcasts. There's some amazing songs to discover there as well. I've been Matt Everett. Thanks very much for listening. This has been a Cup and Nuzzle production. Alexa, play All the King's Horses by Robert Plant.